Hi guys, so for this week's discussion, I'll be talking about my second living arts response, which was for a play called Dear Evan Hansen. So for this one, I attended it at the Broadway Rose Theater Company. So the storyline for this play was basically focused on a socially anxious high school student who ends up getting tangled in like a lie after one of his classmates commits suicide. Because the parents ended up finding a letter that Evan had wrote to himself in Connor's pocket. However, as time goes on, the like spirals out of control, and so like the play centers around 8 like main characters. So for this, before I went in, I had a few, like for the cultural awareness, I had a bit of an assumption of how it was going to be, based on the description I read before buying the tickets. I assumed that Dear Evan Hansen would be like a very emotional and centered on teenage struggles with mental health and loneliness. I also had a few other assumptions because I had talked to a few of my roommates and they were not the biggest fan of it just because of the way the message kind of was presented throughout the play. But I've also heard that the musicals were really good, so I had a little bit of an assumption before I went in. As for the artistic practice, the production of the play was created through a combination of things such as the acting, live music, set designs, lighting, choreography, and so on. The set design was very minimal, but it was very effective. It used projections and lighting changes to shift the locations and emotional stages. As for the practice of empathy, I saw parts of myself reflected in the character of Evan, particularly in his feelings of like anxiety and the desire to belong. This play function as a mirror by highlighting how easy it is to make mistakes when trying to fit in or be accepted by others. As for the cultural view, I would say that the music presented a worldview centered on the importance of connection, mental health awareness, and the impact of social media in modern life. The creator seems to emphasize that individuals are deeply affected by the relationships and the way they are perceived by others. The story reflected values such as empathy, honesty, and the need for community support, while also showing the dangers of isolation and miscommunication in the play. Social media is portrayed as both a tool for connection and a source of pleasure, reflecting a broader cultural tension that we see in today's society. I think that the play revealed a culture that is starting to become increasingly aware of mental health issues, but is also still struggling to address them effectively. Compared to my own cultural perspectives, many of the values feel familiar, especially the emphasis on belonging and emotional openness. However, the play also made me realize how different individuals and communities might handle these issues in unique ways. It suggested that while the desire for connection is universal, the way that people express and cope with it may vary from culture to culture. And also that connections can also be made across cultures, as themes like loneliness, identity, and the need for acceptance are not just limited to one group. These are all universal human experiences that can resonate with audiences from many different backgrounds, which can explain why Dear Evan Hansen has become a widely performed and appreciated play. But yeah, thank you.